In this video, I'll be talking about self-expectations, why they can be important, and how to manage them. So let's get started. Hey everyone, Hannah here. The first thing that I want to talk about is what I mean when I say expectation. Well, I'm referring to the scenarios that we come up with in our minds that we believe will happen. These can be positive or negative, and they can stem from things like fantasies we create or beliefs that we hold true based on our past. Having expectations is human nature, so it's not in itself a bad thing. But when we become so sure that something is going to happen based on the way that we've imagined it, then we can end up being let down, and it can cause issues with our well-being. Don't get me wrong. Expectations are important. If we didn't have any, then we would go through life never knowing what was going to happen next. We need them for ourselves too because they help us to want to better our lives, and they also allow us to be creative and dream about the things that we can accomplish in the future. So it's not that we shouldn't have expectations, we need them. We just need to make sure that they're healthy and that they add value to our lives. I want you to imagine a healthy expectation and think about what that might look like. Are you thinking about something that gives you warm, fuzzy feelings and excitement? Well, those are awesome feelings to have, but that doesn't automatically mean that it's good or healthy. An unhealthy expectation could leave you feeling those same feelings, but then when it actually plays out, then you might be stuck in a bad way. Instead, a healthy expectation is one that's in your best interest, it doesn't stray too far from reality, and it isn't too high or too low. To use an example from my own life, I had been an artist for a long time, and I always had this dream of becoming an animator for Pixar. I expected that because I was really talented that it would be a breeze, and I even got into a great animation program that opened up connections to Pixar. But the expectations that I had when I started the program, they were completely different from what animation actually was, and I just assumed that it was going to be more along the lines of the art that I already knew how to create. But after about a year in the program, I realized that that was not the case. Animation involved a lot more technical aspects than I realized, and it ended up being something that I just didn't enjoy. I was living in too much of a fantasy prior to the program that when reality finally hit, I was devastated. And the expectations that I had set for myself were way too high and unhealthy. Now, at the other extreme, you can have expectations that are way too low or just plain negative. Like assuming that because you've never done something before that you're going to be bad at it. So these are all really unhealthy expectations, and we want to try and change that mindset. Okay, so how does a person set or manage healthy expectations? Because if we don't know how to do that, then everything else we've talked about doesn't really matter. When we set expectations for ourselves, whether they're because of a new goal or a fantasy that we have or whatever it might be, we can ask ourselves some questions to try and stay more present. So by asking ourselves these questions, we can also understand exactly what we're thinking will happen. Number one, is this expectation likely to occur in the way that I'm thinking or hoping it will, or is it even likely to happen at all? Number two, could a different outcome occur? Number three, is there a way to prepare for other potential outcomes so that I'm okay if it doesn't turn out the way that I've planned? Now, this one relates to a previous video that I did on preparing for obstacles. So if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description so that you can check it out. If you find that you have struggles overcoming obstacles, then I would definitely recommend checking it out. And if you find that the expectation that you've set is just not healthy at all, then number four, is there a healthier expectation that I can have? You don't need to feel like you need to do this with every expectation, but if you find that you're the type of person who either gets hyped up and lives in la la land, or you obsess and get stuck in a negative rut over every expectation, then these questions can be helpful to keep you grounded. Something we have to keep in mind is that we're human. So even if we get really good at setting healthy expectations, there's still going to be lots of instances where we don't keep them in check. So what can you do at that point? Well, first of all, try not to get down on yourself. I'm going to end up saying this a lot in my videos, I'm sure, but our goal should not be to be perfect because that's never going to happen. Instead, we should try and make progress in our lives. That's a great goal that we can always work towards. If you do mess up, then just take a breath and move forward. You can always see what you can learn from that experience, but that's all it should be. Try not to dwell on that for too long. Most importantly, though, remember that you're on a journey, and so be kind to yourself. Setting healthy expectations does not mean that you're magically going to never deal with disappointment or frustration, but it does mean that you can know how to handle it better and know what to do for the future. And so it can be a very useful tool. If you found value in this video, then please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on becoming the happiest, healthiest, best version of you.